Hello, so as long as we have signal, we're going live from the top of Latrigg, a local small mountain. It's one of the smallest of the Wainwrights. We're looking down at Keswick, then back over Bassenthwaite, then across to Skiddaw in the background, and Applethwaite. So we have over there, we have Cat Bells, and we're going to go up to the viewpoint in a moment, which is just up at the top here. So as I say, I'm not sure how the signal is going to go today, but it's the birthday of the late and dearly missed Rachel Pollack. So Rachel stayed here and enjoyed the lakes. She went to see Beatrix Potter's home and Wordsworth's home while she was here. So I thought I'd remember her by coming up to this viewpoint. And, we have the, let me see if I can get the camera work going. Hello Tony, hello Apox. And Tracy. Be a bit quiet up here because there'll be people quietly enjoying the view. So this is the view across Keswick and across Derwent Water. Down the Borrowdale Valley. And we've got sunset at 8 o'clock. Sorry, 8:30. It's 8 o'clock now. There's the radio mast in the distance there. And this is where everyone comes to sit and watch the sunset of an evening. So I thought I'd bring everyone up here. We can all watch the sunset together. Hello birds, hello Vivian. There's actually been a mountain festival today in Keswick, so there's more people up here than there is usually, even for this time of the year. There's quite a few drones and mini planes and things like that up in the air. Some paragliders, some motorised paragliders as well. So the festival by the lake was down at the park, down at Crow Park by the lake. So it's quite busy up here at the moment. Usually in the winter time in late October we get some incredible sunsets from here, and it's about 10 minutes walk from the car if you drive up here. And in fact we used to walk up here a lot when I was living just down there. We just walk up this hill. It would take about half an hour to an hour. You can see the River Greta in the distance there. It's the one that's flooded before. And this isn't really the top of Latrigg. We'll just walk back to the top of Latrigg, and then we'll come back down and have a look at the sunset maybe. Yeah. It's a fairly well-worn path that you can see heading up here. So we'll just go up to this top bit, then we'll come back down and look at the sunset. So we can say we've summited the Wainwrights. We've summited the first of the Wainwrights anyway, Latrigg. You can see the shadow there. So the brightest light casts the darkest shadow and the lowest light casts the longest. I'm hoping the dead cat is helping the microphone. It's very blowy up here, even though it's a beautiful summer day, late summer day. Probably the last of the few summer days we're going to get. And I thought I'd do the invocation of Latrigg and talk about that briefly once the sun is setting. Just have to summit here. I don't have a flag to plant. We can get to the top just here. It'll get a bit windy, so I'll be quiet. There's a buzzard in the distance there. I don't think it's Jeff. But this is the official top. So we have summited Latrigg. Power up to Tony. Yeah, so thank you everyone for being a member who's joined as a member. It's very much appreciated. And today is the last day of the offer with the tarot of the Secret Dawn. So if you are watching this and you're still watching this on a Sunday evening, then today is the day I'm going to close it so that we can start sending out people and get their addresses and calculate postage and make sure we have enough decks and just start to get all of that sorted for everyone. Looking forward to getting those out. It'll be appreciated that everyone's joined. We are almost at 100 members, and it's actually the number of hours of video that I need to fulfill in order to get the optimized special access. It's a high touch support with YouTube and a special sort of fast tracking to their projects and things. So it's really going to do a lot for tarot to get us in with YouTube. It's similar to what I did with Facebook and did their Meta Power Admin program, and that helped us get to grips with some of the professional side of running a Facebook group and things like that, and again represent tarot in on social media and so forth. So we are about 25 minutes from sunset. Although I might do Latrigg when it's a bit quieter. Last time I came up here was actually the winter time, and I came up here with Charlotte, and we had to risk life and limb coming up the road. We couldn't bring the car up to the car park because it was so icy, and there were 14 cars that were rescued in 3 days because they tried to get up here. Even 4x4s were stuck on the side of the road because it's really steep coming up here. Basically, you save a lot of time coming up to the car park here and then going up. You see this path up to Skiddaw. Let's see if I can zoom in. You can see the path up Skiddaw there. It's a very easy path. It's actually suitable for wheelchairs, but it's a slog. It's a massive slog up Skiddaw. Massive slog up to the top there. That's Skiddaw. And say that's Bassenthwaite Lake, which is an actual lake because Derwentwater is actually an artificial lake. There's a trick question about how many lakes there are in the Lake District. I think there's only 2, but there's actually 50 something waters, including Derwent water, which is artificially dammed. So I think we'll do the sunset adoration while it's a bit quiet. Hail to thee who art come in thy setting, even unto thee who art come in thy joy, who travellest over the heavens in thy bark at the down-going hour of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendour at the prow, and Ra-Hor abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of day. So that's from Liber Resh. It's the invocations or adorations to the sun at the 4 stations, based on ancient Egyptian mythology. And it was written by Aleister Crowley based on his reading and research. Basically adopt the same formula, but you do a different one for dawn, for noon, the one I did to tum or atum, at the setting of the sun, and then at midnight as well. So it's a sort of solar observation of the 4 stations of the sun. And in the OED and the Crucible Club, we tend to ask students to practice that every day. And amongst other things, it allows us to witness and have a person experience how free they are during the day. Can you actually make time to do an adoration at dawn, at noon, at sunset, and at midnight? So it really challenges and tests your time and your personal freedom and how much time you want to devote to things. And it's a very simple observation. It only takes a moment, as you saw. There are fancier versions where you can do the grade signs and other things, but that's the simplest version. And it's far more important to actually do it and to regulate it and to learn to regulate your time and to stick to something, take an oath to do it for a week, a month, a year. It doesn't really matter as long as you make a realistic oath and then stick to it. And that's Liber Resh. And Liber Resh really orientates us in time. And the Lesser Banishing Ritual orientates us in space. And then the middle pillar and the Rose Cross orientate us in self and in relationship to the universe. So to me, that's why I teach them as part of the core rituals of the Western Esoteric system, because they allow us to magically orientate ourselves to time, space, self, and relationship to reality. And that's why it's not so important to get involved in all the arguments about the differences that Crowley put into Liber Resh to the early ancient Egyptian versions of those god names and god forms, and whether they're transliterated and pronounced properly, or whether we get involved in the star ruby versus the banishing ritual, Crowley's variations of this, or even the Aurum Solis's Greek-based versions, or anything. It's important to be consistent, congruent, and comprehensive with what you're doing, but it's far more important to me to train oneself in ritual practice and finding the right time to do things, and learning how time-bound we are, how spatially bound our sense of self is. This is why it's quite nice doing these outdoor things, because we're perambulating, and the perambulating philosophers and artists and poets saw perambulation as exploring boundaries, finding the boundaries, both conceptually and also in terms of physicality as well. So say we're up on Latrigg, it's the lowest of the Wainwrights, the collection of mountains that everyone is supposed to walk at least once in the Lake District, and there are a couple of hundred of them or so. And this one you can get to in 10 minutes from a car park, or you can walk up from town in about half an hour to an hour, depending on your speed, your rate, and how out of breath you want to be when you get to the top. But it gives us a beautiful view over the lakes. It's a very busy view. There's all the way to Blencathra over to our left, and then Skiddaw behind us. I'll just turn around to Skiddaw so we can see Skiddaw's flanks over here. And then we have Bassenthwaite and Bath, and then Ulloch and Capels and Maidenmore, all the way round down to the Borrowdale Valley down at the end there, and it's Castlehead Woods that you can see in the near distance, just by the lake, and then we get a view over to Castle Crag down at the very end there. You can zoom into Castle Crag maybe. So Castle Crag is just in the darkness there, right at the end of the lake, right in the middle, nestled in there. I won't need a flashlight, I'll be perfectly fine. I actually know the path quite well. It's a very simple path, but I don't take these things lightly ever. I do have water, and I do have a flashlight in my rucksack, and I also have obviously the flashlight on the phone as well. Made sure everything was charged before I came out. But it'll go dark very slowly because the sun will set behind the mountain, but the light will be coming through around it for quite a while, and it'll allow me to get back down to the car. I took the car up. Yeah, usually we come over this flank here, this green bit here, because it's actually quite a hefty slope down to the town. Just beyond this, I think I can walk there. I'm not going to fall off an edge or anything. Try and find some shelter maybe to read from Rachel's book that I brought. You can see the new housing down at the bottom right there, just over the brow. And you see the tree down there? This little tree here, that one there, the one that sticks out, is called the witch, because the witch is, it looks like a witch on a broomstick from a certain angle. And you can see that from town. It's a bit like there's a rock face that's called the Lion and the Lamb towards Ambleside, and that looks like a big lion and a small lamb cowering underneath it, or being protected by it, depending on your reading of it, I guess. And yeah, the witch is that local tree there. And this is called Latrigg. Basically, the word rig is thought means it comes from ridge. So this is just a lat ridge over the town. And you can see that face over there, just that rock face that you can see, that sharp rock face there, and the little rock face to the left, in just about halfway up, 3/4 of the way up there. You can drive up there, and that is called Surprise View. And you can fall off that because it's quite a long drop down into the woods there, and people rock climb on the other face as well. But you can literally drive up to the first one, and there's a nice walk over there back into the valley to a beautiful ton and a tea shop. Very pleasant. Again, it's really not like the Scottish Highlands here. It's far more civilized by a long way. But people still die here. People still get stuck on the mountains. Mountain rescue has been very, very busy this year, mainly with influencers underestimating the distances and the gradients and the condition of the paths as well. And you know, influencers tend to just edit their pieces to look as if they've gently descended to somewhere, but quite often it's either just outside of a car park, just off a really big busy main path, or they have really sort of gone up and wild camped illegally somewhere, and then given the impression that they've actually walked there. And then other people try and emulate it and get stuck and have to call out mountain rescue. So I was spoiled for choice for things to bring to remember Rachel Pollack by, whose birthday it is today. And I brought The Forest of Souls with me. I thought I'd just quickly read from the introduction, because there's a nice bit in there about how Rachel saw tarot. Excellent. So I'm geometrically opposite New Zealand. So that doesn't surprise me somehow. You see, I think they should have filmed Lord of the Rings here. The sort of Birmingham, Midlands, East Midlands landscape was really what Tolkien had in mind, was familiar with. Well, actually, you can see some farmers down there in the field. Oh, they are. Oh, they've just come in from that field there in the middle. You can see the tractors. They're taking a second harvest, the last harvest, last cut. Rachel was a hoot. I met Rachel several times, and she was the first person I wanted to invite to the TarotCon that we held here in 2009. And she graciously accepted, and I went and picked her up from the airport, and that was the first time I met her. And she came and stayed with myself and my ex-wife at the cottage that we had down in the town there. One's actually just out in the woods there. Yeah, we had a hoot of a time. And then she kindly invited me to talk at the Omega conference in upstate New York. I remember getting the train, and it went through Poughkeepsie, and enjoying that just as a fact in itself, and then teaching with Mary and Rachel at Omega. That was just when Tarosophy had I got a first print of it from the publisher, who then let me down with all of that. But I'm actually, they were very kind to have me stood in front of them whilst I grimaced for the camera holding Tarosophy, and they were very gracious with that, and I learned a lot from them at Omega, and there was a good group of people there. And then I had massive jet lag when Tali and I went to a conference in San Francisco, and we were taken to meet Rachel, and I had some surreal conversations in a very crowded restaurant, absolutely jet lagged, and completely, it felt like my head was being split apart with a skull. And Rachel and I had some long conversations about, if there's the journey of the fool, then what about the journey of the magician, or the journey of the high priestess, and so forth. And I really loved riffing with her. She gave me several ideas for books that she felt that I could write at some point. And you know, I'm very honoured to have had her suggestions for that. Yeah, she was a good writer, changed the face of tarot, and we are all on her shoulders. So it was sad when she fell ill, and it took a while to get used to that. But she also wrote a lot of fiction. I have her collections and things like Alqua Dreaming, which is hardly known, and that's a weird bonkers science fiction sort of thing. There's a lot of things in some of her books about obviously gender identity, religious intolerance, things that she faced and was involved with her whole life. So let's see if we can get ourselves a seat here, and I'll just read out from this. This is where I should have affixed the tripod first. Although I would not trust a tripod in this breeze. It's a very stiff breeze up here. So we're going to honour Rachel this evening on her birthday and remember her with the Forest of Souls, a walk through the tarot. And I chose this as well because it is a walk through the tarot. So I hope the sound quality is okay as the sun sets. We've done Liberash. So this is an introduction at play in the fields of tarot. Spirituality in the tarot. This theme may surprise some people. Those who know very little about tarot may think of the cards as a device for fortune telling. How could the predictions of tall, dark strangers or somber warnings of curses have anything to do with spirituality? Others who know the tarot's esoteric traditions may think they know exactly what I mean by spirituality and the tarot. The tarot, they will assure us, contains the keys to a vast system of correspondences. These include the laws of nature, both known and unknown, magic, Jewish mysticism, astrology, pagan gods and goddesses, Christian revelations, secret knowledge, Egyptian initiations, angels, demons, and still more. This book takes neither of these approaches. While it does not give any instructions on how to tell fortunes or any card-by-card list of meanings, it does in fact include quite a few readings. But instead of asking who someone will marry or where to look for a job, the readings in this book ask questions like, how will I open my heart? Or what nourishes the soul? Or even, what plan did God follow to create the universe? Readings in this book become a means to explore unknown territory in ourselves, but also in the world outside us, in the sacred mysteries and the riddles of existence. They take advantage of the tarot's most distinctive feature. Unlike books of spiritual ideas and the lessons of famous teachers, the pages of the tarot are not bound in any real order. The cards appear to contain a linear message, but they come to us numbered and labelled with such titles as the High Priestess or Judgment. Many books describe the step-by-step development of this great message. But unlike sacred books or the works of psychologists, sages, the tarot can change and become new every time we pick it up. This is because we can shuffle it. We can take the cards with all their intense symbols, mix them, and lay them out as a new work. People think of readings as a way to reveal secrets or describe a fixed future, if they take the idea of readings seriously at all. In this book, they become something opposite, a way to gain new perspective and explore possibilities outside our normal ways of thought. Outside our normal ways of thought. And this is Rachel's walk through the tarot in a Forest of Souls. Highly recommended. And it really uses Rachel's deck as well in this, which I really didn't like when I first saw it. I thought it was a little bit simplistic, a little bit crude in its execution, but that was before I saw Rachel read with it. And when I saw Rachel read with it, and the way she used it, and the way she could tell stories with it, it changed my whole view. And it also taught me to never ever think that a tarot is not for you. It's just, it might not be for you at a particular time. It might not be something that speaks to you at a particular time. But in the right hands, a tarot deck, like any tool, can be something quite incredible. And Rachel was able to read through a deck, actually read through a deck and make a story up, sometimes about somebody's life and sometimes not, sometimes just a story, and read all 78 cards fluently, and narrate them as a story, no matter what order they came out in, what cards they were. She really, I think, helped demonstrate to me that tarot is a language. It's a language of the soul, and we can go for a walk with it whenever we want. So here we are, the top of Latrigg, overlooking one of the most beautiful views in the whole of England. Certainly in the Lake District. This is known as the Jewel of the Lakes, and honouring the memory of Rachel Pollack, who was born on this day and who passed away a few years ago, and to whom we will always owe a great debt, because she taught us that tarot was something far beyond what people thought of it. And her work was groundbreaking, was literally groundbreaking. It, along with Mary Kay Greer, Eden Gray, these are three of the, I guess, the trinity of matriarchs. I don't know if any of them would want me to describe them that way, but perhaps we can describe them that way. But they are certainly, they changed tarot, and perhaps other people would have come and done it at some point, certainly as the internet evolved, but they gave us a massive head start, and they allowed tarot to have a different sort of foundation when other people came along in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and with all of the year 2000 Farrago, and discovered tarot and made it as if it had been discovered for the first time. They didn't know it, but they were building on a foundation that had been laid by Rachel, by Mary, by Eden Gray, and therefore their direction started and then took a particular direction that it might not have done. It might not have done that. It might have stayed in the hands of the esotericists and not the storytellers. It might have veered entirely to the fortune tellers and not the psychologists. It might have become a weird tool for a few niche psychologists and not found its way to the fortune tellers. But in fact, it was able to bridge all of those things because Rachel had started us off with that whole thought process, particularly in 78 Degrees of Wisdom, which is of its time, but it's certainly, it needs to be on everyone's library. Everyone should have read it once. It's like a pilgrimage, I guess. It's one of the few Briel Tarot pilgrimages. And is to read through 78 Degrees of Wisdom, either the 2-volume version or each volume separately. And I'd highly recommend that, and to remember Rachel as you do, because obviously she's remembered by her works now. And yeah, Forest of Souls, the Tarot of Perfection is a nice collection of her short stories. to get a taste of whether you gel with her particular style. It's worth looking at the Tarot of Perfection. Okay everyone, so I'm going to close off here because I'm going to start walking back down and making my way back down the other side of Latrigg, and I'll lose the signal as soon as I go by that bench. And thank you for joining me, for remembering Rachel. And yeah, just take a moment to remember her today. I didn't know her as a close friend, I guess, but I certainly admired her and felt we knew each other as colleagues, sometimes partners in crime, and co-conspirators of creative ideas and ways to use the tarot. And you know, but I do think I would like to remember her today, and ask other people to do so, particularly for the dead we owe her for the tarot. So thank you everyone, and thank you for joining me up here on Latrigg. We can join everyone watching the sun go down now. So it's dead on past. Excellent. So the almanac was correct. Sometimes the old farmers' almanacs are just as good as Google for finding out what's going on in the world. And yeah, so today is the last day. Oh, and we have a message actually. Here is a message for Rachel. Rachel has actually left us a message, and this is why this is the actual magician's bookshelf, because someone has left this here. Rachel, yes, we love you. And it's got a rainbow on it, of course. There we go, I just noticed that just as I was about to close. And this is why the tarot is the tarot and magic is magic. We can find our meaning, we can find our messages. And thank you for Rachel for joining us. Yes. Okay everyone, so take care, and as I mentioned, this is the last day for the special offer, so do join please if you would like to get access to the videos that I'm doing for members only. Putting a lot of work into that, but we have a good opportunity to get in with YouTube, and we're going to be giving away a deck for postage only. And this is the last day for that, so we can start to organise it for all of those wonderful people that have joined, that we can get your decks out to you over the coming weeks. So thanks a lot everyone, and take care, and as ever, the worker is hidden in the workshop. Bye for now, and thanks Tony for moderating again, so much appreciated. Thank you.